I'm Starborn. Remember, to be a star, you have to shine your own light, follow your own path, and not be afraid of the darkness, because that's when stars shine brightest. If you've been looking at my website, starborninstitute.org, you'd already know that the title of tonight's show is actually a question. And the question is, which road are you on? And that's because a major planet is changing signs tomorrow. And it is going to help set up a way that all of us can compare or contrast different situations in our lives in the next week. And some comparisons can be quite favorable, and some contrasts can be quite jarring. And that's because the planet that changes signs tomorrow is the Sun. And it is going from the end of Gemini, and it will be going into Cancer tomorrow, where it will form a trine with Saturn and Neptune in Pisces. And Pisces rules dreams, and those three planets are also going to be trining the sign of Scorpio. So there is harmony among the water signs, and they can be very fruitful. And that is because water signs are healing and nurturing and rather understanding. And if you have a precious dream that you would like to make come true, well, when that sun goes into Cancer tomorrow, you could really do that. And you may get the funding for it as well if you need extra money. And that's because those three planets are trining the sign of Scorpio, which rules funding. So there could be something that you really want to accomplish, and that situation could be looking pretty good for you. Or you could maybe figure out how to do that, because there are another three planets in a compatible element, which is Earth. And so the three planets in the Earth signs, which work very well with the planets in the water signs, because Earth and water need each other. And so they're very compatible. And because the nurturing water is what makes things grow in the earth. So they both need each other. And so at the same time that the sun goes into Cancer tomorrow, Jupiter and Uranus in Taurus, a fixed financial sign, will be trined by Pluto, which is at the 29th degree of fate in Capricorn. And those three planets are also trining the sign of Virgo, which rules your job and your work and your health and occupations that are of service to others. So, how could this play out in a situation that relates to your life? Well, it's simply that if you do have a precious dream that you would like to make come true, this is a good time to do it. But you could be scratching your head and saying to yourself, oh, but that's going to take a lot of work. Well, think of it as a labor of love, because Taurus is ruled by Venus, and Venus is the planet of love. So yes, good things take work, but they can be really worth it, particularly if you're wanting to make a precious dream come true. So, nothing wrong with you having to be involved in a labor of love that is a bit of hard work at the same time, because it could be rewarding in order to make your precious dream come true. And so, as you are comparing and contrasting different situations in your life, if you could see an area where you have a precious dream and you're willing to work hard on that, as if it was a labor of love, you could be very successful right now, particularly the whole time that the sun is in Cancer. But not everyone can be trusted, and not everything is worth doing, and that is because we have some contrasting situations or contrasting aspects going on at the same time. And the one that is most disruptive and can cause a lot of problems in your life or in somebody's life is because there are 5 planets, half of all the planets in the heavens, are in fixed signs, and they all square each other. There were 4 planets in fixed signs last week squaring each other, and now this week there's 5. And so, that makes the challenges or the fights or the controversy about money and power and leadership and control, it just heightens the tension of all of that. And so the future is on hold as far as people are concerned about situations that involve who's going to be a leader, or who's going to be in control, or who's going to get all the money. And that is because today there are very harsh aspects among the fixed signs. And that is because Venus is in Leo, and it is at 15 degrees, and it is closely conjuncting the moon today in Leo as well at 19 degrees. But unfortunately, Mars is also at 19 degrees in Leo. The moon and Mars are tightly conjunct. Well, Venus is conjuncting both of them as well. So a conjunction doubles the strength of each planet. So these three planets in Leo are they're going to make for heightened emotions. That is Mars and the moon conjuncting each other. And it means that even if you have the best intentions, you could run into problems. And they might be money problems, or issues of control, or power in one way or another. Because these three planets in Leo are being squared harshly by Jupiter and Uranus in Taurus. But this week, Uranus is at 21 degrees of Taurus, and as I said, Mars and the moon are only at 19 degrees, and Venus is at 15 degrees. The square is even harsher this week than it was last week. And that means that someone who could be very greedy and arrogant would be willing ruthlessly to destroy anyone, even their own children, in order to get their hands on something that they feel is within their grasp, or because they're so greedy, it's what they want to possess and they want to have, and they feel they can get it. And so this could be a person on the world stage. You know, this could be somebody who wants to overtake another country and is willing to do anything for that. Now remember, I said it involves money, because Taurus is a money sign. Well, we know of a war that's going on right now, and you know, it's a big country attacking a smaller country, but it happens that that smaller country is ruled by Cancer, where the sun is going to be tomorrow. And Cancer rules anything in the ground. Okay, so it rules agriculture and farming and ranching, but it rules minerals that come out of the ground. And it could be that the smaller country that the bigger country wants to overrun, that smaller country could be extremely rich in minerals, worth a fortune. And so there can be somebody that wants to overtake that smaller country. And so blatant greed is going to be on display now. And I think what's going to happen is that somebody who is taking a huge gamble right now is actually going to overplay their hand, and instead is going to lose big, not win big. And so that's a contrast to a nice situation where you're only trying to make a dream come true and you're willing to work on it. But these situations exist in our world, and we can be spectators or we can be participants, but one way or another we're going to be affected. And so that's why the question this week, or the title of the show, is, which road are you on? Because I just want to remind you about something, that the tide always turns, which is true. It's a law of nature. The tides change. They come in and they go out. They always turn. And the tides are ruled by the moon, and the moon rules Cancer. And so in your life, if you're caught in some sort of situation that has gotten to be pretty tense, and you'd like to get out of it and you know, go ahead and make a dream come true, even if it does require a lot of hard work, it would be your dream, it would be wonderful. But if you're caught around anybody who is ruthlessly arrogant and greedy, I would say, you know, you got to be real careful and get out of there. because they will stop at nothing to get what they want. And they would destroy anything, even their own children, to get what they want. So the aspects between these planets, the 3 in Leo and the 2 in Taurus, are much harsher this week than they were last week. And there's 5 planets involved instead of 4 planets. But this is a very dangerous time. And that's why I'm wondering, you know, the tide always turns. And so that means that love and healing can offer you a very good life. But anger and greed can destroy life. Well, which road? Which road would you want to take? So this is a good time to ask that question, not only of yourself, but of the people that you see in the public eye, and how they're conducting themselves. You know, we can just be spectators or observers, but we have good minds. We can make up our mind about things. And that's why, which road are you on? It's a good question to ask this week. And if it's not your road, then it's good that you ask what's going on with other people that are on very different roads right now. And be aware of how dangerous one of those roads is and who's behind it. And be careful. Okay, what does this mean to all 12 of the sun signs? Aries. Well, Aries, for you, you know, there are more planets in Leo trining your sun this week than there were last week, because Venus and the moon and Mars, your own ruler, are in Leo trining your sun. They are sort of under severe duress right now. And so some of that might rub off on you a little bit. Even though they're trining your sun, Aries, you may hear about or know about or be involved with some people that can be extremely greedy, arrogant, and ruthless. And for instance, it could be an employer, or it could be somebody in a high office, because what's behind it all is their absolute greed and arrogance around issues of control and leadership and money. And Aries, don't let any of that rub off on you. I mean, run the other way, Aries, because the pressure and the tension among the fixed signs is what I would call degrading. Okay? It's not going to do anybody any good at all. And so even though there are some good planets, Venus and the moon trining your sun, I would say that because your ruler Mars is involved in all these squares in fixed signs, that you could be susceptible to some sort of harm by somebody who just, they want the money or they want the power, and they'll do anything to get it. And if you are in any way involved with anybody like that, Aries, you really need to get out of a situation like that and stay out. I don't think whoever that describes, I don't think those traits are going to change them. That's who they are. And so that's why I wonder what road you're on. Because you can't be around people like that and expect to survive. Because they're not into survival. They're into their own survival, but not anybody else's, including yours. So, Aries, you sort of need to make up your mind right now which road you're going to be on and who you're going to be with. And you know, you got some good planets in Pisces right behind your sun sign, and they are being trined by the sun tomorrow in Cancer. And together, Neptune in Pisces and the sun in Cancer are all trining the sign of Scorpio. In the background of your life, Aries, you could begin to make a precious dream come true. And if it was hard work, it would be a labor of love. Okay, might take hard work and a little bit of money, but oh boy, could make you happy. So think about that, but you also may have to make some comparison and contrast about a situation in your life or about the people that are in your life. And they may not all be trustworthy, Aries. So you might have to change friends or make some new friends. And it might not be a bad idea. This could be pretty good timing on that. Okay, what does it mean to a Taurus? Taurus. This is a time, Taurus, when I would say you're sort of under pressure, and it's not a little bit of pressure, it is a lot of pressure, Taurus. Now, that is because today the moon and Venus and Mars, which are all tightly conjuncting each other, which doubles their strength, are in Leo squaring your sun. And you have Jupiter, which is a very good planet in your sun sign, and you have Uranus there, which is a malefic planet. Uranus is at 21 degrees, Mars is at 19, and so is the moon. Taurus, I hope you haven't been kidding yourself about something, particularly if it has to do with money, leadership, or control, because those things are being sorely threatened right now. By people who are just arrogant and greedy and are ruthless. They'll do anything to get what they want. And so this is not a very good time, Taurus, for you to take a chance on anything. Nothing. Don't take a chance on your health. Don't take a chance on your investments. Don't take a chance on getting anybody else mad right now, because they would overreact. And you know, you could just mention a small criticism about something and somebody could really be offended and let you have it. Because there's going to be an overreaction. Mars and Uranus, two speedy planets coming up against each other. Something's going to happen real fast. And you could be in the pathway of that, Taurus. And so it's lucky that Pluto is in your sign, and it's at the 29th degree of fate, and it is finally, you've got some support. It's trining your sun now. And it may mean that you can move backwards a little bit, or change something, or lower your sights a little bit to something that appears safer and more secure and less threatening. And if it means changing friends, this is a very good time to do that, Taurus, because there is a question about whether you can trust everybody or not. And it seems to me, with the pressure that your sign is under right now from those three planets in Leo, that you can't trust everybody right now. And I would advise you, Taurus, to withdraw. Whatever you want, I would soften your approach right now, and tone something down, or just withdraw. Think safety first, Taurus. The whole week. I would say as long as Mars is in Leo, you should be thinking safety first. And that's with your money, that's with your loved ones, that's with everything. Now, one good thing is that when the sun goes into Cancer tomorrow, it will sextile your sun, and it's setting up a trine, a very favorable trine in the water signs, and yours is an earth sign. So just remember, Taurus, that, through more gentle understanding, or by softening your approach somehow, and withdrawing a little bit, particularly if you've been making any kind of financial demands, sort of withdrawing, or just lightening up a little bit, you could maybe shift your focus off the prospect of money and get it more on a precious dream that you want to make come true, because the planets in Pisces are sextiling your sun, and the sun in Cancer is also sextiling your sun. And water and earth get along pretty well together. So if you could lower your sights and withdraw a little bit, and try to protect yourself a lot right now, you might be able to start thinking about making a precious dream come true in a way that it requires more work from you, but it would be a labor of love. And that would get your mind off of the tense situations that can be surrounding you right now. And believe me, they are stronger than you are, Taurus. And Taurus is strong, but not this week. Even last week you were being threatened, but this week it's dangerous. So try to back off a little bit, Taurus, if you can. All right, what does it mean to a Gemini? Gemini. Gemini, the sun has, it's at 29 degrees today. Tomorrow it's going to be in Cancer. And so, you know, you've had a pretty good run, Gemini. You've had an awful lot, for almost a year, since last August, you have continually had planets in your sign. First, Mars was in your sign for a long time. Then it left, Venus came into your sign. Well, then we just had a sun and new moon in Gemini, which really would have brought you some good news. But now, as of tomorrow, when the sun goes into Cancer, this will be the first time in months that you haven't had any planet in your sign. And so I think that this is an important time, Gemini, for you to just take the load off somehow, or pause. Just pause. And what I suggest you do is try to simplify your plans or your actions, and don't put any pressure on yourself. You actually have been under pressure for quite a long time, and there should have been some sort of easy transitional change that you're able to make. Okay, so that's fine. But that doesn't mean that you have to recharge all your batteries and sort of get back in the fray right away. There may be some things that you need to catch up on at home. Cancer rules the home, and the sun, that's where the sun's going tomorrow, right ahead of your sun sign. And so this would be a good time while the sun is in Cancer for you to, just get your house in order, or just connect with your family members or your old friends, something like that. And you could even begin to think about how to get a little bit ahead in supplying your home or your friends or a partner with things that you'll need to get through the winter. In other words, stockpiling things. Inflation is still with us. Prices are going to keep going up. They've come down from their height, but they're still not any, everything is still very expensive at the grocery store, and our costs everywhere, whether it's gasoline or whether it's the rent or the mortgages or the credit cards, the costs are too high. So this simply means maybe, since you're a good planner, you should plan ahead now and try just a little bit to maybe stockpile or just take advantage of good sales and do things that can help you get through the winter at home. It doesn't mean you'll be at home all winter. Maybe you're taking a trip, or maybe you're starting a new job. But I think you should prepare a little bit better around your home base right now if you can, Gemini. So give that a try. Okay, what does it mean to a Cancer? Cancer, lucky you. The sun is going into your sign tomorrow, and so it is going to set up a very beneficial trine with Saturn, which is retrograde in Pisces, and with Neptune in Pisces, and Neptune is the ruler of Pisces. So it's very strong there. And those three planets will all be trining the sign of Scorpio, which is a fixed financial sign, but it rules funding and financing. It rules credit and debt and taxes and loans and insurance and inheritance and grants as well. And so if you were to concentrate, Cancer, on deciding to make a dream come true that may involve hard work, so it would be a labor of love, you got to think of it that way, this is an optimum time for you to do that, Cancer. I mean, I don't think there's a Cancer in the world that doesn't really have their mind on their home in one way or another, because that's what Cancer rules. But it rules America, and it rules Canada, and it rules Ukraine as well. And it does rule anything coming out of the ground, such as agriculture, farming, and certainly minerals. And America is rich in minerals, and so is Ukraine. And people can, the world is a little bit poorer now. The debts are too high everywhere, and this is a good time for you to make sure that your debt is going down, or that you don't have any debt, Cancer. I mean, just live on practical things. Cancer rules recycling, and Cancers are known for saving things that other people would throw away, but Cancers are always thinking, I could use that someday, so they save it. And you know, that might help you get through a time when prices are really high, and maybe you don't have to go out and buy everything new right now, Cancer. Maybe you can sort of redo things or make do with what you've got. Cancers are usually very good cooks, and maybe you could make things ahead of time and freeze them or can them or whatever, and help you stretch your grocery bill a little bit. But anyway, anything that has to do with your home, or just your family life, or just things that need fixing even around the home, this is a perfect month for you to do all of that. And also, if you wanted to make a precious dream come true, the timing is perfect, Cancer. And it will be the whole time the sun is in your sign. So just go to it. Don't be so busy that you take your mind off your dreams, because dreams are what lead us into tomorrow. Dreams are what assure us that we have a future, and we do. So I hope everybody keeps their dreams alive and sort of goes for it, even if it does involve hard work and a labor of love. Okay, what does it mean to a Leo? Well, Leo, this is a time when you will have to try as hard as you can not to get angry with anybody. Remember, the moon rules our emotions, and the moon is in your sign right now, but it is tightly conjuncting Mars. Okay, there couldn't be two less likely planets in the world coming together right now than the gentle, passive moon and Mars, which is aggressive, domineering, and greedy. Or it can be. Or impatient. Demanding. And so, Leo, I don't know if your emotions are going to take a beating right now, or if you're feeling pretty angry about something and you really want to stress your point. I would not do that, but you could be, if you are involved in any kind of transaction that has to do with money, you may not be too happy about that right now. And you may decide that, you're just going to really push and compete and win anyway. But you are not in a winning position, Leo. And you weren't last week either. But this week, no. And the reason why is that Venus, which is a wonderful planet, and it makes everybody more generous and loving, okay, and it's in your sign, but it has moved up too. We have this really somewhat harmful conjunction in your sign, Leo, of Venus at 15 degrees and the moon and Mars at 19 degrees. Okay, conjunction occurs when planets are within 7 degrees of each other. Well, Venus is within 4 degrees and the moon and Mars are exact. So you really need to keep your emotions under control, Leo. And it could be very hard for you to do that because the future is uncertain. It could be your future that's uncertain because there are questions right now about leadership and control and money. And somehow you're involved in that in one way or another, Leo. It may not be, you may not be feeling like you want to be ruthless or super greedy. But you could have to deal with somebody else who was like that. And you wouldn't win an argument right now. They might not either. So it would be, if your sign rules gambling, if you decided to take a gamble right now, Leo, on anything, you would overplay your hand and really lose big time. You would be assured of a loss. So this is not the time for anybody to take a gamble, but really not you, Leo. So you know, just as I was telling Taurus to withdraw or step back a little bit, you need to do that too. All 4 fixed signs need to do that. Sort of back off. Because nobody's going to win in an argument. But somebody who is extremely ruthless or extremely greedy is going to go for it. And I hope you don't know anybody like that, Leo. But if you do, I'm sorry to say it, you might be right in their pathway. And that's why you really need to keep your emotions under control. And if one angry or impulsive or impatient word comes out of your mouth, you will pay dearly for it. It's not going to be worth it. So try, you know, I think back in the days when the country was getting settled, I think that if somebody got angry, they went out and chopped wood, uh, or did really hard physical work and worked their anger out that way. If you have a big project, Leo, that looks like it's going to be real hard, this might be the time to do it, because it would wear you out, but it would take your anger out too, if you have any. So try to keep a lid on your emotions at all times, because even one, if you overstep, if you criticize, if you attack, if you compete, you're not in the winner's circle, particularly not this week, Leo. So which road are you on? I hope you're the one that's got an exit sign. I hope you have a way to exit from a tense situation, because otherwise I don't think you're going to win it. And, you know, they say discretion is the better part of valor. And that means you need to know when to be discreet or when to withdraw and just call it a day. And this too shall pass. Remember, when the sun goes into Cancer tomorrow, because the Cancer is ruled by the moon and the moon rules the tide will turn. But it's not going to turn for you in the next week, so you gotta be really cautious. And no matter what you want, Leo, it could probably wait a week. You know, take a break. It could be a lifesaver if you just back off right now on something. Okay, what does it mean to Virgo? Well, Virgo, this is a time, Virgo, when I think that you're going to be involved in something that is going to improve over time. And what I mean by that is that the water signs and the earth signs are very compatible because they need each other. Water needs to be needed, and the earth needs water in order to grow things. Nice combination there. The same thing is true of fire signs and air signs. Fire signs have a lot of energy, but they need good ideas, and air signs have a lot of good ideas. And if they get together, whoo, anything could happen. So since yours is an earth sign, and both Jupiter and Uranus in Taurus are trining your sun, and so is Pluto in Capricorn at the fateful 29th degree. And so this can be a time when at last, Virgo, you may sort of be able to see the light. And by that I mean you may be able to see a way to make a precious dream come true. And maybe not completely, but give it a try, and at least get started on it. And also, if it involved a labor of love, meaning a lot of hard work, that would be okay with you. The earth signs are good workers. And Virgo likes to finish things. Your sign is ruled by the number 9, the highest of all the single digits. And so naturally, it's always a Virgo that is going to tie up loose ends or finish things up. And, you know, if you have something like that, a project that you need to finish up, or you need to follow through on, or you're wanting to make some sort of dream come true, and you're starting to feel that, you know, maybe that is possible. Maybe I could do that. Okay, maybe that would take a lot of work, but maybe that could happen. I agree. I think it could too. So with the 3 planets in water signs trining each other and the 3 planets in earth signs trining each other, I think if you were comparing and contrasting different situations in your life, Virgo, I think you would go for something that was hopeful and easy and could lead to happiness and contentment. And that, even if there was some work involved with it, it would be a labor of love. I don't think you'd mind the work. You might even like it. So this can be a time of expanding opportunity for you, Virgo. As long as you stay away from anybody who's got a chip on their shoulder, or who's trying to be competitive with you, or is just very greedy or arrogant, stay away from them, Virgo, really far away, because all 3 planets in Leo are right behind your sun sign. So there can be troubled emotions or troubled emotional matters behind the scenes that can be threatening to everyone, including you. And you probably need to take a little rest from that, Virgo, if you can. Time out would be a good idea. Okay, what does it mean to a Libra? Well, Libra, this is a time that can be the calm before the storm. Now, I don't necessarily mean that a storm is headed your way, but you might have a lot of hard work headed your way. And that is because, since it's the calm before the storm, what it means is that, yes, the sun is in Gemini today, trining your sun, but tomorrow it moves into Cancer, and then it'll actually begin to square your sun. But also, at the same time, there won't be any planets in air signs. Okay? And so what that means, Libra, is it's just a good time for you to realize that, you don't always have to be in forward motion. There are times when it is just as productive for you to sit down and plan something. Or, work it out on paper. Put a pencil to something and look at it and think about it and then set it aside and come back to it the next day or a couple days later, look at it again. Because plans don't always work the first time. It helps if you get organized and then you sort of let it sit and you come back and then you think of filling in the gaps or what you missed or something else that needs to be added. And all of that is planning. And without very many planets, actually none, in the air signs as of tomorrow, this is a better time for you to sit back and plan things carefully. And also, Libra, it keeps you out of trouble if you're just sitting there planning things. Or, be good to yourself. And by that I mean, get a little more exercise. Improve your health. And I don't just mean physical health for anybody right now. The tensions that are being generated among the 5 planets in the fixed signs are so intense this week, even more so than last week, that we all have to think of our mental health and, calming down, relaxing, thinking of easy things that don't require a strong reaction or a competitive force or an angry retort. So this is a time, Libra, when you should maybe sit down, put your feet up, and keep planning things. Because, a lot of things depend on how well they're planned. They can be fairly easy to do once the plans are in place. But you got to get the plans first. And so this is a good time, without any planets in the air signs as of tomorrow, for you to plan something instead carefully. And you could even plan a schedule for getting a few things done that are preparatory to some big thing that you want to do. There's a lot of little things that need to be done before a big thing can be done. So good luck, Libra. Okay, what does it mean to a Scorpio? Scorpio. Well, yours is a fixed sign, Scorpio, and the fixed signs are under severe duress this week, more so than last week. Oh, and that's hard to accomplish. But then there are more planets in fixed signs this week. So the moon, Mars, and Venus and Leo are squaring your sun, Scorpio, and Jupiter and Uranus in Taurus are opposing your sun. And they're doing the same thing to the sign of Aquarius. And so remember, the future is on hold right now because of questions that can erupt about leadership, control, and money. And yours is a financial sign. And so you might be affected by these very harsh aspects between the 3 planets in Leo and the 2 in Taurus, both of which harshly affect your sun sign. And so Scorpio, the question for the program this week is, which road are you on? And that's a pretty good question to ask you and Aquarius, because you're both fixed signs and you're being sorely affected by these harsh aspects in fixed signs. And so that means, Scorpio, that you could run in or already be associated with somebody who is never going to let their blatant greed stop them from taking some sort of a gamble where they overplay their hand and they lose. But they would do anything in a ruthless, relentless manner to get what they want right now. And if you happen to know somebody who is a strong competitor or who is greedy and arrogant and they could even be desperate. And so they may just feel, well, gee, they're going to go for it because they think that there's something very financially beneficial. In other words, it could be any treasure at all, anything that has to do with wealth. And they could figure that it is within their possessive, obsessive grasp. And I would be very surprised if you didn't know somebody like that, Scorpio, because those planets are so harshly aspecting your sun sign. At the same time, Scorpio, there's two roads I'm talking about. One where you can make a dream come true. And even if it takes a lot of work, it could be a labor of love. And it could be healing. And it could prolong life. Well, you may have that advantage. You may be able to suddenly see a way forward to making a precious dream come true right now. And it might be in order just to get away from these people that want to just grab on to anything because they're so greedy. And so, you really need to stay away from those people, Scorpio. Not because you're not a good fighter, but because even in a war, when somebody finally wins, both sides lose. Because war is so destructive. And so is anger. And anger and greed, they can shorten a life. They don't prolong it. And if you have an opportunity to get away from people like that, or quit doing business with people like that, and just go toward making a dream come true, even if it is a labor of love, that would be loving and healing. It would prolong your life. So, for all of 4 fixed signs, there is a question of what kind of life you want to lead and how long you want it to be. Because anger and greed shorten life, and love and healing prolong it. And that's true throughout time. And so, try to save your own life, Scorpio. You're a survivor. Your sign rules survival. And I think you're going to have to survive this week. So you'll have to make a decision about which road you're going to be on. You can't be on both. Because one will destroy you. And you need to get away from that. All 4 fixed signs are being threatened this week. And that goes for people who are strong in fixed signs as well. They could have the lights, the sun or the moon, in fixed signs, or they could have a fixed sign rising. Lives are at stake. I'm sorry to be so serious, but that's the way it's looking. And if it doesn't happen to you or to me, then we're lucky. But it's happening somewhere in the world. And we have to be very careful right now. So I hope you're choosing the right road, Scorpio. Go for that dream. And so it takes some work. But look what you've got in the end. A long and happy life. And that's going to be worth it. So good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Sagittarian? Sagittarius. Well, Sagittarius, there's a lot of planets in Leo. 3 of them now. Venus and the Moon and Mars today in Leo, and they are all trining your sun. So you could certainly be energized. You could know people who are very emotional right now, and their emotions can center on anger or frustration or being impatient or being demanding. And they can be saying, Oh, but it's all for people I love, so I need this and I need that. So they could be just displaying a little bit of greed at the same time. And you may know these people, Aries, or they could be around you, or they could be asking you to help them fulfill their demands. And because these planets trine your sun, I mean Sagittarius. And Sagittarius, you just cannot allow that. You can't allow threatening or dangerous people into your life right now, or be around threatening or dangerous situations, unless you're trying to make a dream come true. But even that could be a little out of reach for you at the moment. And so Sagittarius, I would say you need to hunker down and try to do private, quiet things right now. Yours is the sign of the intellectual. Sagittarians are always thinking, and they're sort of news junkies. They like to keep up on the news and find out what's going on, and think about situations everywhere in the world. Well, why don't you do more of that, Sagittarius? Because at least it's keeping you out of the fray. And that's where you need to be, is sitting on the sidelines. But I think somebody is going to try to push you into something, Sagittarius. And it's not for your good, even if they tell you it is. It's not. It's for their good. And so they would be using you. And that's not the same as liking you. And so I would withdraw and be a little bit quiet, Sagittarius. You could say, oh, well, I don't want to let a good opportunity pass me by. Well, if it's a good opportunity, it'll be around. But this is a dangerous time for people. And you've got Venus trining your sun. That's nice. But unfortunately, Mars is conjuncting the moon and Venus. But Mars and the moon are conjuncting exactly right now. Overwrought people, angry people, greedy people. They're not your type, Sagittarius. So even though those planets are trining your sun, which they are, they could give you a big boost of energy. But you better watch where you walk and be real careful how you use that energy right now, Sagittarius. I don't see anything wrong with using it on your behalf. But you could be using it on the behalf of somebody who isn't worthy of it. And it would be better if you sat on the sidelines and thought about it a little bit more if you could. Okay, what does it mean to a Capricorn? Capricorn. This is a time, Capricorn, when you can be deciding to stay on a steady path that is leading you toward greater financial security and some sort of career fulfillment. And it's almost like waking up from something, Capricorn, now that Pluto has re-entered your sign, where it was for years, and it's at the 29th degree of fate, and it's being trined by Jupiter and Uranus and Taurus. They are under duress, but still it's trining your sun. And so I think you're a little bit more serious about how you're managing your money, and I think what you are thinking about doing is making your money work a little bit more for you, for whatever you want to do, or however you want to progress in a career. It might be a second career, or it might be a sideline career, or it might be a hobby. But I think you're getting real serious about it, and I think you should. Capricorns always feel they have enough time. That's because time rules your sign, and because Saturn rules your sign, and Saturn is the planet of time. So Capricorns live a very long time. But I wouldn't wait till the last minute, Capricorn, to do something. It's a competitive world. Capricorns are not in a hurry, but they shouldn't be waiting too long either. And so this is a time, Capricorn, for you, even if you only want to take one small step in the direction toward enhancing a career choice or a skill or a talent of yours. Maybe you want to get a little bit more practice or education in something. Fine, you should do that. That's money well spent because it'll benefit you. And with that additional knowledge, maybe you can go forward and do something that you've always wanted to do. So, okay, it might be a labor of love. Maybe you're going to have to spend a little money to get things the way you want them. But what in the world are you waiting for, Capricorn? Because, Pluto is back in your sign, but it's really going to go forward later on and into Aquarius, where it will spend years in Aquarius, just the way it has already spent years in your sign. But it's not going to continue to spend years in your sign. So I wouldn't bank on things staying the same way, and particularly throughout the world. It's not going to happen. Well, Pluto was in your sign for decades. That was the growth of big business and big government. And it looks like there's a resurgence in that, but I would say it's not going to last too long. We can't go back to the past. And so now it's time to prepare for the future. And if you're not in a hurry, at least take one step toward the future, Capricorn, because you're going to need to do it. So why not now? Okay, what does it mean to an Aquarian? Well, Aquarius, yours is a fixed sign. And so Aquarius, you're facing the same pressures and tension and perhaps people with angry attitudes that the other fixed signs are facing. And this is a time when people really do have to decide which road they're on. We can't tolerate everything, mainly because we can't survive everything. And we have to make choices that will help us survive. And that's what's important now. It should be really important to you, Aquarius, because your sign rules the future. And, as soon as the sun goes into Cancer tomorrow, there won't be any planets in air signs. And so just like Gemini and Libra, you need to sort of concentrate on staying at home a little bit, or just wrapping some things up, or concluding things, or even cleaning out your house and throwing a few things away or donating them. In other words, this is probably going to be a much better time for you to shelter yourself somewhere against ruthless people in the world that may try to attack you, or may try to attack your bank accounts or your investments, or argue with you about money. I mean, last week wasn't too good for that, and this week is worse. So, and Aquarius, there's no more backup in the air signs, not as of tomorrow, because there won't be anything in air signs. So you really should hunker down and simply work and clean things up and keep what's relevant for your future, and give everything or donate everything else that you don't need anymore. This is a time when you can, it's sort of like a division in time, where you can look around where you are and you can divide and pack away or give away things that belong to your past that aren't coming back, so you don't need them anymore. And that will lighten your load, and it will draw you more and more into the future, and the future is what we've all got, but not the past. Memories are great, but we still all have to live in the future. And so you've got a good future, Aquarius, but you could be burdened down with too many things and thoughts and ideas that don't really apply going forward. And so this is a good time to sort of clean out the cobwebs of your mind if you can, and avoid anybody who looks like they're angry or has criminal intent. And there could be a lot of people around like that, and you need to avoid them all, Aquarius. Fixed signs are threatened, particularly this week. And so concentrate on your future, because that's where you're going to shine anyway. And remember, Pluto will be coming back into your sign, really increasing your power for decades to come. That's what you need to get ready for, Aquarius, so good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Pisces? Pisces. This is a time, Pisces, when yes, you can really make a dream come true. Let's see, the clock is ticking, and that's because tomorrow the sun comes into Cancer, and it will trine your sun, Pisces, along with Neptune, your own ruler, and Saturn. Saturn is retrograde right now, and that means that, you know, you could have had thoughts about, or doubts even, about making a dream come true. But as you look back at some of your doubts, you could be saying, why did I worry about that? That's not worth worrying about anymore. And so you could sort of let that go and instead really concentrate on making a dream come true. You could even get some sort of funding for that, Pisces, or you could make money somehow on a dream coming true. And the reason why is that the Sun in Cancer and Neptune, which is very strong in your sign, and Saturn are all trining the sign of Scorpio. And Scorpio rules funding. And so anyway, Pisces, you have a gentle nature. I mean, it's lucky you're not a fixed sign. It wouldn't agree with you at all. You sort of like just going along with things. And, you know, you would have a perfect opportunity to do that, particularly for the whole next month when the Sun in Cancer is going to be trining your Sun. You should really concentrate on your wishes and your hopes and your dreams. And some of them could be little small ones. And other ones could be something that you think would take a lot of hard work. Well, it would be a labor of love. Go right ahead and do it, Pisces. Generally, the things that we do have to work for, we appreciate a little bit more because they did take hard work. And whether it's in a relationship, because all the water signs rule healing, or whether it is in something that has to do with your home, or making a dream come true, or trying to work on something that can be healing, either for yourself or for mankind, you can do it, Pisces. You're coming into a good time. I think you naturally do not like to fight with people, and so you really need to stay away from anybody that looks like they've got a chip on their shoulder, or that they're angry about anything, or they're complaining about anything, or they're in a bad mood. Oh, walk right by them, Pisces. They're really they're not your type anyway. But besides, there are so many good people, including yourself, that need help in this world. And we all need to heal. And we all have disappointments in life. And we all have setbacks. And we need to get over them. And the way to rise above your sadness is always to do something that you think will make you happy. And to go for the happiness. Isn't that what we all want, Pisces? Just to be happy. Sounds simple, but it does take work. And that can revive you. A dream you have, it doesn't matter what other people say about your dream. It matters what you think, because it's your dream. And this is really, after the Sun goes into Cancer tomorrow, this is when you should get on it, Pisces. I mean, if we're talking about timing, you've got the timing down perfectly as the Sun goes into Cancer and trines your own Sun. So I hope you follow through. All right. Thanks so much for tuning in. Remember, you can see the show on my Karen Campbell YouTube channel, and I hope you tell your friends about that too. And you can read the blog on my website, STARBORNinstitute.org, and that explains a little bit more in depth about the theme of the show. So I wish you all the best of luck. And remember, when I'm asking which road you're on, don't go for that one that's going to cause a lot of problems, or is a problem. Go for the one that is the dream that might be hard work, but it can make you so happy in the end, possibly happier than you've ever been. So think about that instead. And I'll see you next week, right here. Thanks a lot. Bye.